Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Tim Wagon. Didn't somebody just say live? Didn't he say live? Oh,
You're really rusty.
we've already
aren't
made
you?
an error. We've already made an error. First play of the game. I didn't even get a word out.
I know. Straight out of the gate. It's all right. We'll get it out of the way.
Welcome back, literally, to the Plein Air Easton Podcast. Marie and Jess and I, we have been off for a long time.
Yeah,
How
we
long has
did.
it been?
We
Has it been
did take
year?
a little break. I think it has.
We were just getting rolling, too.
I know.
People were coming in from, like, South Carolina saying, oh, I listened to the podcast.
That's right. That's
And
right.
We gave it all away. Who knows what could have happened?
So we're regaining momentum.
Well, we're good. This is the first push up to do that. Yes, we're going to regain momentum. Thank you for joining us for the Plein Air Easton Podcast. This is going on, you can edit this out, Nick, July 12th through the 21st. For Plein Air Easton are celebrating the 20th year in 2024.
Yes.
And what we are doing here is we are doing a interviewing previous alumni. Did you set this up, Marie? How did this come about? How did we decide who to pick, who to interview? Is it all alumni? Is that what this is?
That's a great question. This concept came about in an effort to supply content for the people that come in the beginning part of the festival. There was always kind of like a deficit of being able to find the artists because they were so involved in what they're tasked to do, and that is to complete competition painting.
Uh-huh.
So in an effort to give the public and the community content during the week, we've engaged with alumni artists to come spend some time with us and do free demos and interviews here on the stage with us in headquarters.
I could just say from our efforts, we've got to put some more effort into getting those people here.
Yeah. Go out on the street, Tim. Go get some people.
I think we've got welcome.
Go get them when they're coming out of church.
It's Sunday morning. Everybody's at church.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue these throughout the week, and we've got it's a series of alumni. While it's not named, we are going to call this the Series of Alumni series.
Okay.
Okay. And we are talking with today, not interviewing, Mick McAndrews.
Hey, Mick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a thrill to be here. Let's get this party started.
That's right.
Let's
That's
get
the
Plein
spirit.
Air
started.
Easton 2024.
That's right.
20th anniversary.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if that was my part to say that, but I couldn't
Well, I
help
love
myself.
it. You just stepped right in there.
The
We
nervous
opened the door and you sat right
anticipation
down.
among the Avalon staff and volunteers is palpable. Everyone is excited and ready to roll, including me.
Yes. This is our first day open in headquarters, so
Nick, that was a great intro.
Yeah.
It was really good.
yeah.
Thank you.
So anyway, we want to welcome Mick McAndrews. Mick, we've done a podcast with you, and everybody said, Tim, what are we going to talk about? You don't talk about what you did in the past. We've already interviewed him before. And I was like, well, okay, we'll figure out something. So we've interviewed Mick before, so we're not going to get deep into your
Your
history,
background or what
Your-
brought you to plein air painting.
Good.
If you want to know who Mick really is, you'll have to go back into the Plein Air Easton Chronicles. I think he was
There you go.
somewhere back there.
Season 1 or season 2.
But my question is, Mick, I'm sorry, is where are you from, and why was that place important to you?
I'm from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, via Newark, Delaware, and Greenbrook, New Jersey.
Okay.
So always kind of an East Coast boy. But we've been in Downingtown, Pennsylvania for 24 years now. We love it there. Chester County, Pennsylvania, if you've been there, is just a gorgeous area. So things like going outside to paint, it's easy to do, most of the year. Little downtime in the winter, little downtime in, middle of summer, because it gets hot there as it does here in Easton. Sorry I had to say that. But
Yeah, no, it's hot here.
yeah, so I teach up there.
No. I meant more in terms of where did you? Actually, I phrased the question wrong. Where did you grow up, and why was that important to you? Where you grow, where'd you grow up, and what was important to you about it? Getting out? You love something about it. What do you remember most fondly about that area?
Or how did that impact him? Is that where he grew up? How did he impact?
I'm going to stick with my words.
Okay.
Well, I grew up
Wow.
in Greenbrook, New Jersey, which is Somerset County, northern New Jersey, a commuter town into Manhattan.
Okay.
And, it was in a time when Greenbrook was a very small town. So going out playing baseball and basketball and football and eventually golf. But early on, just, those kind of games at the local field or out in the street was just what we did with our time. Riding bicycles, running around. I don't know if you remember, but you'd go out in the morning and wouldn't come back until dinner time.
Exactly.
And your parents didn't wonder about where you were. They were just glad you weren't there. So it all worked. Great little small town upbringing. Absolutely loved it. I have very fond memories of it. Strong family, loving family. I have 2 brothers and a sister. And the neighborhood was more kids. Actually, people that I still hang around with. I actually was out in Ohio last week visiting a high school buddy of mine, and we played golf at Highland Meadows, his club, where the women pros will be competing in the Dana Open next week. So we got to play a course. Sorry to bring up golf
That's okay.
so early on.
Yeah.
Where
Everybody out there
that
who's
was
listening
set up
who
for
loves golf,
competition
understands.
play, right? And the bleachers were up and the tents were up. It was kind of fun to experience that.
Oh, fantastic.
That's enough.
Does
Well-
sound fun.
Well, did you go into Manhattan when you were a kid?
Yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely. Madison
art
Square
there?
Garden and, the museums in town. Absolutely.
Theater?
Theater came to me a little later in life, as an adult, for I think our 15th anniversary, so I was well into life. We went to see Cats on Broadway because we could easily get tickets for Cats. And no offense to anyone watching or listening, it was not my favorite show. But I've since gotten into, it's a funny story actually. We went with another couple and we were in the theater. Have you seen Cats?
I think I've seen pictures of movie. I get what it's about, but I've never
it starts
seen
with the actors in cat attire kind of crawling through the audience. So immediately it was like, what is going on here? And we're not cat lovers, so I just didn't. It didn't. So after the show was over, we went back
We're
to
like other
to the
people,
hotel,
like,
to the
rubbing-
bar, and we're saying, what do you think? We're like, yeah, it was interesting. That was really interesting. It was different. It was interesting. And then finally, the one guy got 2 glasses of wine in him. He said, you know what, that sucked. And we all went, yeah, you're right. That pretty much sucked.
Right.
However, to bring that back,
That was the one on Broadway. That was the one on Broadway you saw.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
saw.
yeah. I love theater. Love theater now. We go as often as we can. Matter of fact, just went to see Stereophonic on Broadway.
Oh,
If you've not
nice.
heard of that, what a great show that was.
Isn't Cats still running? You could go back
No,
there and
no,
check
no,
it out.
it's-
No,
it's-
they,
it's
sh-
long
they
gone.
shut it down.
Yeah,
did?
it's probably touring somewhere, but it's long since gone.
Right. Well, there's a really interesting story about act. There's people that did that cat thing, in the aisles, and that's their only part for like 13 years. Like every day, that the same person did the exact same thing. And we talk about that in when we discuss acting around the Avalon. Just
Oh, I
like this
forgot. You're an actor.
Sort of what type of how you can get yourself psyched up to do that every day.
Yes.
Again and again and again, and that could lead into painting. I would imagine a little bit. You're going out. Yes, it's a different subject, but you still got to deliver the same artistry and quality, just like the actor doing Cats for 13 years, doing that same role. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's the nervous anticipation, just like here. I know Marie, I know you, Tim. We've done this before. I'm nervous as I could be. And why is that? And I think it's the same sort of thing going on stage, right? There's nervous anticipation, excitement. It never feels old. And painting for me is the same way. To have a blank piece of paper in front of me and have to try and create a work of art, it's a challenge. There's an uphill climb. And sometimes you succeed and sometimes you don't, but it's always joyous. I'll always enjoy the experience. Never feels like work to me, ever.
Well, and you wouldn't keep coming back, right? If when it starts to be labor intensive or like, I don't know, you don't feel positive towards it, then you wouldn't continue with it, right?
Absolutely. At this point, I feel like it's part of who I am. I'm an artist.
Right. It's feeding
So
your soul.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So
it's
you're an
one-
artist. So what were you gonna say?
I pointed at you because the three of us went down a rabbit hole a while ago about artist versus painter, if you don't remember. We don't
yeah.
have to do that again, but this idea of being an artist.
Go back into the Chronicles. It's there.
Yeah. And I listened to Tim Bell's podcast a while back where he talked about the imposter syndrome.
Uh-huh.
And that, I think, is cutting at the heart of it. do I deserve this kind of accolade or recognition? What have I done to earn that? So there's a little bit of a, leap forward to get to the point where you're confident and comfortable in your shoes as an artist.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Was your dad an artist?
No, he was a blue-collar worker. My uncle was an artist.
Your uncle
my
was an
mom's brother, a very, skilled artist. He carved, he painted, he acted some. He did a lot. So I have very early childhood memories of going to his studio with him, and we were 5 or 6 years old, me and my older brother, and we'd run around and, go to the candy machine and get a snack, and we'd watch these artists paint. And that kind of thing has an impression. It really kind of plants a seed, I think, early on that maybe just needs time to be nurtured and to grow.
Right. Was your dad funny?
Yes, I think the answer to that's yes. He loved to sing, actually. He was not a professional singer, but when he had a couple of cocktails, he would sing songs, sometimes to my mother. If they were getting along well, he would sing, "While we were dancing, you were dangerously near me. I got ideas. I got ideas." Loud, though. Loud that it filled the house. And then if they weren't getting along too well, he would sing, "Please release me, let me go, for I don't love you anymore."
And how could she not smile?
Oh, I don't think she liked that. I don't think she liked it. And that's probably why he did it. Yeah. But they were married for 30-some years, until he passed away. So they were in love. They
Did
had
he like your art? Did he know you were an artist?
He never had any experience with me picking up art. Because I took it up later in life.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah,
start
sound
painting
like you
until
were-
I
yeah,
was in my
right.
40s.
The reason I ask is because I think you've got like one of the greatest names in the history of mankind. And this is also chronicled. Mick McAndrews is just I thought that
Is that from the family along the line somewhere?
I don't
Your
know where the
name?
Mick came from, but probably from McAndrews. Probably.
Yeah, it's
Because
great.
I'm a Michael. And,
Right.
and I guess I try and, suggest to others that it could be Mick Jagger. There's similarities there. Could be Mickey Mantle.
Yeah,
There's
there's a lot of
similarities
great
there.
Micks.
But there's no connection to Mickey Mouse. None.
None. Okay.
None.
Got it.
Mick, I think we're gonna take a. Do we take a break during podcast? Do we take a break during the podcast?
Yeah, we do take a little
We
bit.
do. Okay. We're gonna. But one more question before we go. And it is. You are part of the Land Conservancy. You want to talk about that?
Yes.
Right.
You're taking part in the Land Conservancy
I am,
Invitational.
yes.
Eastern Shore Land Conservancy.
Yes.
I am, yep.
So this year we have partnered with the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy, and we have invited some of our top tier prize-winning artists over the past 20 years to participate in this special paint out that highlights conserved properties. So we love this because not only does it highlight the work that they do, but it highlights how much art is important in preserving what we know about our world around us now. Can you say anything about that?
Well, it's an honor to have been invited to start with. It's one of those pinch me kind of things that's been happening a lot when I talk about Plein Air Easton. But the invitation was one I would never have turned it down. And I took a drive around yesterday when I arrived at some of the properties just to get some ideas about where it would be, best to go off and paint later today, I hope.
Yes.
And hang it on the wall.
So how do you feel about art and conservation?
Well, yeah, where I'm from in Chester County, Pennsylvania, the old farms, old barns, historic properties, there's a lot that needs to be done to preserve them. And if not, preserving them in art, to me, seems to be the best way to do our part.
Exactly.
Up our way in Philadelphia, the USS United States, or the SS United States, is a very historic vessel that sailed back and forth between New York and Europe. It was the fastest vessel during its time, and it's been sitting in the harbor in Philadelphia for the last 10 years or so, and it's expensive. It's an old cruise ship, no longer in operation. So a judge recently ordered that it had to be moved out of the dock because the dock owner wants it for other purposes. So the question is, what's going to happen to it? Is someone else going to step up and find a home for it, or is it going to have to be seriously decommissioned and sunk so it becomes a marine habitat? So that's just another example, I think.
So you're seeing this boat in the dock, and I mean, if you decide to paint that, you decide to paint that. So it generates a feeling because it is old and it's been there forever and it's our past, and this is the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy or whatever. What are you trying to get into the painting? The fact that it's old and spur that sort of in the viewer. Does that sense of appreciation? How do you do that with paint and your eyes, and how do you make that happen?
No, I think
and is that going through your mind while you're brushed to canvas?
I have not painted it, but it's certainly a strong drive.
Do you understand the
to go.
question, though? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
sure.
a feeling that boat generates,
Right.
and you're trying to sort of lay that down.
Or a historical landmark, or how do you kind of evoke the I don't know, the memory or the significance of it?
The aura of it.
Yeah, I think in the case of a large ship like that, you try and use perspective to create drama and interest and excitement. So you have, the bow would be just large and taking up most of the space on your paper or canvas, and then dramatically going off into the distance. And it's a distinctive looking ship, so you capture the shape of it, and if you can, some sunlight, where's the cast shadows, and create, I guess, a combination of maybe its heyday back in the 50s and 60s and where it is now.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough. Well, listen, for those of you out there listening, you can take a look at what Mick did with the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy exhibit that's coming up. It'll be open, I think, the 18th and 19th for the public. It's free of charge. It's going to be at the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy. And if you're out there listening, if you get this week, or if you're in town, or if you're coming in town, please stop by the Plein Air Easton headquarters. And you can also look at the flipbook guide that is online at pleinaireaston.com. Nick have done a wonderful job doing all that stuff. There's all the information is in one place. But please stop by here and check out all of the wonderful works that are coming in throughout the week. Marie, there'll be somewhere upwards of 500 new paintings in here by the end of this week, correct?
Oh, yes. The inventory is steadily building, and there is a lot of beautiful work in here already.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with a little bit more with Mick McAndrews here. But Plein Air Easton 2024, we are at the headquarters in the Waterfowl Building. We'll be right back with more after just one moment. Welcome back to the Plein Air Easton Podcast. I'm Tim Wagon with Marie Nuttall, and we are here at the Plein Air Easton headquarters in Easton, Maryland, celebrating the 20th year of Plein Air Easton, 2024. Marie, I think before we get going here, we wanted to wrap up that Eastern Shore Land Conservancy, the dates and information on that.
Yes.
From the last where Mick will be he'll be doing one of his paintings.
He'll be a part of the exhibit and sale at the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy. We have a reception opening on the 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. And the exhibit is free and open to the public. The reception is as well. And daily, it's open from the 18th to the 20th at the Eastern Shore Land Conservancy building at 114 South Washington Street. It's open every day from 10 to 3, 18th to the 20th.
And that's a great building.
It's a beautiful, restored building. I love when people repurpose old things.
Yeah, it's
and
really
they
cool looking.
did an
So
exceptional
it's worth
job.
going in beyond just the paints. And then also, too, we wanted to just go over, because we're kind of getting back into our routine of saying these things. We seem to have it, and then without doing the podcast, we haven't done a whole lot of these tag in and tag outs. Talk to them about the headquarters and what's going on here and when it's open and that kind of thing. Marie is the person who runs really this whole thing, so nobody person to ask.
Yes, the headquarters space is going to be lively with demos, interviews like we're doing now all week long. We open every day at 10 a.m. except for Thursday, because that is when the artists are turning in their competition pieces. But we'll reopen on Friday and be open through the weekend, and that is through the 21st.
Right, through the 21st.
Okay.
So the headquarters opens at 10 a.m. every day except for Thursday. Really.
Yes, there's a growing exhibit and sale in this building. Everything that you see on the walls and in the artist exhibit spaces is for sale.
And that's built on purpose. I mean, the idea was that it's kind of the exhibit changes every day. So if you wanted to add this art as a part of your life for a week, you wouldn't come in and see the same things. You'll see the things that are sold, things that are replacing it, brand new paintings that are being done. They're painting in Oxford today. Those paintings will get here tomorrow, or if they most likely if they don't sell. So this exhibit changes throughout the week, and then culminates in the big sale and everything on Friday. After all the 58 artists turn their paintings in, they turn up to 10 paintings in on Thursday, and then it's really things really get rolling.
And if you love it, buy it, because there's no guarantee it's going to be here when you come back.
Yeah, again, it's been around for 20 years, and they've done a great job in building buyers, and they've also done a great job in creating people who didn't really know that they wanted to have a painting that they actually do, and there's those people here too. So if you see it on the wall, you should get it, because there are plenty of people that are coming around who are buying paintings. And then you can always come here and see what this set looks like. Mick, what do you think?
Yeah.
What is? I mean, you got to come see it. It's almost like we have like either oxygen going to our brain with these black lines coming from behind the couch. You can't really tell what they are. It's very sort of old school, maybe 20 years ago, sort of stuff going on there. A lot of orange and green happening here. So come on by, and I think we've got coffee and drinks and food and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
It feels very Seinfeld-ish.
Yeah,
I
there
feel
you
like
go.
it's the
Perfect.
Repurposed Merv Griffin television set.
Oh, see, we had a set
All this
director do all this,
retro-
right? Isn't this great?
It's very nice, very comfortable.
So I had a good segue when Tim was talking about people who don't even realize that they need art in their lives. But last year when you were here, you started painting these, or you introduced the Easton community to these little tiny gem of paintings that literally were on the shelf for minutes before they were sold. They are so adorable. I can't even stand it. But
wait till you hear this. Wait.
Can
Save the tell all about the paintings, and then wait till you hear what these are painted with.
Okay.
Save it. It's so good.
So can I say what they are? Or
Of course you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so these are whiskey paintings.
That is
She
correct.
just blew it.
So please tell me about the whiskey paintings.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
I am a signature member of the Whiskey Painters of America.
Signature.
Never heard of it? Well, let me tell you. It's a 5-minute, long elevator ride speech. But there was a businessman back in the 1950s who traveled all over the country on business. He was also an artist. And he would bring his sketchbook and a small palette of watercolor pigments with him when he went on a business trip. And after the workday, he would go to a local pub and he would sketch and paint the people and the activity in the pub.
Ryan, do we have
And
music
he
for this?
attracted a lot of attention, but after he had a couple of cocktails, because people would buy him drinks when he was sitting there, he would mistakenly dip his brush in his drink. So he became known over time as the whiskey painter. He lived in Ohio, and back home he was a member of an art group, and he started bringing his friends along out to local pubs, and they would all get together and paint the scenes in the pub, all make the same mistake after a couple of drinks. They would trade paintings, they would give them away. They decided to formalize it, and they formed the Whiskey Painters of America. The idea being that every painting you do has at least some alcohol in it. So they're watercolors. So you have a little, glass of water, and you take a whiskey bottle and you pour a little bit in. I haven't seen that it has an effect on the paintings, but I love the idea of it, right?
Yeah.
Conceptually. And the other thing that makes them unique is they can be no larger than 4 inches by 5 inches, which is where that kind of little jewel thing
Yes.
comes from. If you see a whiskey painting exhibition, we do 5 of them, 6 of them a year around the country. They're a huge hit. People love them because you can always find a place in your home for a little piece
For a
like
tiny
that. You
piece.
can stand them on a table. You can hang them on the wall. We have them all over our house. And once you start collecting, you kind of can't stop. I must own 20 of them now.
That is. How did you find out about this?
He just told you.
I have a friend in Vermont who was a signature member, and the only way in is a current signature member has to sponsor you in.
So how many members are there? How many members are there?
There are no more than 150 living members at any point in time. So it's kind of an exclusive
Oh yeah.
group. And if you look at the history of it, there's some very, very well-known artists who have been whiskey painters over time. It's fascinating. So I'm a proud, signature member of the Whiskey
When
Painters
did
of
you
America.
get your tap on the shoulder for it?
2 years ago, maybe. I haven't been all that long. But things like Easton last year, you bring a couple of paintings down to kind of, get things going before you get out and paint on the street. And I thought, I'm going to bring some whiskey paintings. And the rest is history. They were a huge hit
I
last
know.
year. I forget who it was, but somebody actually bought one for one of the Avalon staff as like a gift. So it's really
It
really
wasn't
neat.
me. I didn't get that gift, but I would love that gift.
So it's fun. And when you talk about artistic inspiration, like you don't always have the mental wherewithal or the time to invest in a larger painting, but you can always work on a 4 by 5 inch painting, and they're fun to do. So it's a neat twist on things. And I enter exhibitions where they want to know what signature memberships you have, and there's ones that are familiar to anyone who paints in watercolor, but I always put WPA on there. And inevitably, I get a call from whoever's organizing the exhibition and say, I never heard of WPA. What is that? And then I go into my 5-minute routine again. And it's, it always kind of intrigues the listener. So
Yeah.
That's a really
It's interesting.
exclusive
Can you paint a painting with just whiskey?
probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it's better to have a little bit of water, I think, just for the fluidity of it all. But yeah. Yeah. But the idea was that
water.
because it-
Obviously, water is
because the
more
whiskey
fluid
would
than
be-
whiskey.
It's
Yeah.
drying, right? The whiskey is drying, like too fast because of the alcohol content.
I have not had that experience, Marie.
Oh, no.
What about Southern Comfort? You ever worked with Southern Comfort before?
I haven't, but that's a great idea. Great idea. I've been using bourbon, but does it matter?
Does it-
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Vodka,
bourbon plug,
gin,
bourbon plug.
rum. I don't know.
Lion's
It
Rum
might be
would love
interesting
to be a
to
part of
say
that.
Oh
what
my
you
gosh,
use.
yes.
Yeah.
Painted with Southern Comfort.
You could do a whole new
Painted
commercial
with,
for like Jack Daniels.
Jose Cuervo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it would appeal to those. Whatever.
I'm serious.
You
Jack
get,
Daniels.
you get the idea.
A Jack Daniels painting commercial
it's
could totally work.
it's a lot of fun. Thank you for the opportunity to kind of share the wealth.
No, it's a great
But-
story.
And of course, when you join an organization, they encourage you to be a member of the board, which
Oh,
I've
don't
now
do that.
done, and I handle their exhibitions,
Oh, wonderful.
which is fun. It gets me in touch with gallery owners and coordinating whatever shows.
Right.
You should bring
So-
it down to Easton. Bring that exhibit down to
you
Easton.
know, if
Maybe
you're
in
serious-
in the winter months.
If you're serious, we should talk
Oh,
about
but the
that.
only stipulation for ours is that it's got to be all whiskey. The whole painting has to be whiskey.
No, we should do it in December.
You could
know
use
what I
different
mean?
color
'Cause we,
painted
like,
whiskeys.
It would be bonkers as
Well,
far as Christmas
interesting
gifts.
that you say that. We actually did an event for the first time this past year. It was called Yuletide in Devon, Pennsylvania. It's on the Devon Horse grounds. It's a icon in the local area, and it was all about the holidays. They had all sorts of different vendors and exhibitions, but the Wayne Art Center invited me and the whiskey painters to put up an exhibition there. And yes, they sell. People come in. I did a demo. And again, you have to give the 5-minute spiel, and you make a big deal out of pouring your whiskey in, and people gasp. They can't believe it. But it's more or less tongue-in-cheek. It was a great time.
It is.
And the paintings sell.
A lot of fun.
And it was the first time I had an opportunity to see, 20 different whiskey painters, each with,
Do you
8
get a
pieces.
different clientele
And
for whiskey painters? Is the same clientele that come out, or is it because it's named whiskey? Are you likely to see somebody who might not necessarily go to an art show or whatever? Is it all the same people or whatever? Do you have any?
No,
way
I think
to
it
gauge
appeals
that?
to a broad audience.
Yeah.
Because the paintings are not expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They range anywhere from $100 to $300, maybe $400. Now, keep in mind, they're
Right.
they're little guys, so they're affordable. It's actually a really good entree into collecting.
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
since I
wonderful.
started doing this, we have a show coming up in Oklahoma City.
Nice.
There's the one in Vermont that's going on right now. I love the idea of an Easton
I
show.
know, me too. We'll
Very,
talk.
very exciting. Yeah. Okay.
It's a really good idea.
I know, it really is. We can do some questions?
Yeah, we've got some questions from the audience here. I'm going to see which.
Is this our
We'll save that one. Is it difficult to control watercolor in heat and humidity?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's difficult to control watercolor regardless of the
Because there's
weather.
more water in
Perfect
the air
conditions.
when it's humid?
Inside or outside. I'd say, in humid conditions, it's harder to dry the watercolor. Harder for it to dry, so it's going to take more time, so it maybe slows the pace of your painting, but the same would be true in reverse. If you live in a very dry, arid area, it's hard to keep it wet. And the magic of watercolor is in keeping it wet. That's what makes the magic happen, as I intend to show the world tomorrow beginning at 1 p.m.
There you go. Mick is giving a demo here, but he's going to be in climate controlled situation, so he's not going to have to worry about that humidity, fingers crossed, and all the electronics are working.
Yes, but there's going to be 1,000 people in attendance.
That's right.
And there's going to be a lot of pressure to do your best.
Goodness gracious, we've got to get some. Yeah, please tell your friends
We
if
need
you're
to
listening.
bring your own chair.
Any volunteers, please bring your friends for these demos. They're a great way. I mean, people it's always hard to advertise effectively for everything that goes on here. But one of the things that always happens is when we finish the year and they're like, the demos were something that people who come to them totally get a lot out of, especially if you are a painter or if you are an artist or whatever. They've been so. When's Mick doing this tomorrow at 1?
Yes, tomorrow at 1. And
Spread the word if you can, however you hear
seriousness,
this.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I have gotten emails of people that are planning their trips around the demos that we are hosting this week.
Right.
So
I mean,
That's exciting.
it is an exciting
And they're
deal.
free. I mean, it's we talk about.
I know,
like,
and they're
good
award-winning,
price.
internationally acclaimed artists. So,
Right.
yeah, you would be silly not to if you couldn't get some time to get out. here.
Yes. So anybody who's here listening in the room, let your friends know that's going on. Okay. Yes or no? Do you offer class?
Yes.
Good. Good one.
Yeah, I taught a Zoom class for the, name's escaping me, over at the church, the show.
Christchurch, local color.
Local Color
Yes, I
for the
win.
Local Color group.
Yes.
And I taught my first class at the Academy Art Museum in the fall, and I'll be back this fall. So,
Well,
yes.
I might join that class, Mick.
Yeah. Why not? If you,
That would
art-
be
we're gonna
fantastic.
get-
know.
I was
I-
just talking to another friend who informed me, I've known her for years, that she paints in watercolor. I didn't know that. So I'm hoping she can come when I'm back in October. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Great. That's exciting.
We'll work hard, we'll play hard, we'll cry, we'll laugh together. It'll be just great.
How long
can't
have you?
wait.
How long? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marie. You can't
No,
wait.
Go ahead. I was just.
For the classes,
Yeah.
October
yeah.
he's coming.
I think
October, you
I'm-
coming back?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
How long have you been painting?
25 plus years, a long time.
25 years.
Yep.
So 5 years older than the festival.
Yeah, that's
You got in
right.
just in time.
Interesting. Yeah.
This whole week has been full. Well, so far has been full of so many full circle moments and like in conversations. It's really fun.
Well, I'm comfortable and love both of you, but if you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be sitting here on a couch with the two of you being interviewed for the Plein Air Easton podcast,
Interrogated.
I would have told you, ha ha.
You would have said, "What's a podcast?"
Ha ha ha. Good one. So.
All these, if you have any questions, if you're watching online, I think we're streaming right now, you can send questions in. These are questions from the audience that we've gathered here. There's two more. What is your favorite subject to paint?
I love to paint boats, but I love to paint landscapes, traditional landscapes. I love cityscapes. I don't do portraits for the most part, but I love putting people in paintings, just simple impressionistic people. So I don't know if I have a favorite, but I love painting boats. I've never owned a boat. I don't necessarily love being on a boat. There's just something romantic to me about
A
marine
floating
life.
boat.
Marine
yeah,
life.
the boatman's life. Being on the water. Maybe it's because we all, at some point, came out of the water, right?
Yes.
It's almost like going home, kind of, sorta. So,
Got it.
yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, boats. No favorite subject, but boats. Having said that, I want to talk about your painting that you brought in for us. That's right behind us here.
Okay.
Marie, you want to describe what you see there, and talk to Mick about that?
Yeah. So now I have to be a contortionist. So, Mick, so tell us about like where it's so funny. So can I tell a little story?
Yes.
So yesterday I was talking to one of the artists and she was checking in a painting and I said, "Oh, where is that?" And she said, "Oh, it's so and so, South Carolina." I said, No. The correct answer is anywhere you want it to be. Question maker. But tell us about the painting that you brought.
I painted that in May as part of the Wayne Plein Air Festival,
Okay.
where we had a couple of rainy, overcast days, misty. So I was down at the Brandywine River Museum. I hope both of you have either been there or will make a point of traveling there someday. It's a fantastic museum.
Yeah, yes,
they're
definitely.
making it even more so now. They're renovating. But that was on the museum property, looking out at the bridge over the Brandywine River. That's the Route 1 crossing, just in the mist. So I call that painting Emerging from the Mist.
I love the.
But like you said, when someone says, "Where is that?" the answer is, "Where do you think it is?" And when they say it reminds me of my home in Maine, well,
Right.
then the answer is, it is Maine. How did you know?
How did you know? I love the shadows and the reflections in the water. And the
Yeah, that's a
different-
good example of
And
what
the
I call
depth
the
of it.
magic of watercolor.
How many
It's-
layers is that? How many?
I just kept painting and painting and painting, and at some point I was just literally holding the painting up and letting it drip off onto the ground, the water and the pigment. That's what I call a lot of water and a lot of pigment. But it's what watercolor is all about, and eventually you can have a subject kind of emerge from what you're doing.
What did you move the water? What did you move the water around with there? Is that just a brush you're moving the water around with when you're putting all that water on there and the layers of paint? Are you
Just a brush.
Are you tipping the painting at all?
Absolutely tipping it, using gravity to my advantage, absolutely. But I tell students all the time, they'll say, "I love how loose and fresh your paintings are." I'll say, "It's a lot of water and a lot of pigment." And the same students 10 years later, same question. A lot of water and a lot of pigment, because that's when it's scary. That's when watercolor is really, nobody's in control. You
Right.
can't paint that kind of thing with a brush. You have to just rely on that magical quality of the medium and whatever skill I can bring to the process.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
for me, that's kind of the essence of good watercolor painting.
Well, that is phenomenal, and it is moody and
Right, atmospheric.
yes, very atmospheric.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. What's the name of it?
Emerging from the mist.
And-
So
Emerging
if you're
from the
online at Mick McAndrews, looking up his work, it's Emerging from the Mist. It's a wonderful painting.
Which is for sale, right? You brought it to sell here?
Absolutely.
Yes. Available for sale
I
here
think
this week at headquarters.
everything is for sale at Plein Air Easton at some point. Well, everything's for sale.
Yes. Yes.
In the world.
I just wanted to ask before I gave away somebody's favorite painting or something.
Yeah. We took this from someone's house.
Mick brought his wife's favorite painting.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. At the Wayne Plein Air, someone wanted to buy that, but they didn't like the frame. And I said, okay,
Sure.
you should buy it and put it in another frame. But I think what they were looking for was a discount. Like, would you sell it to me for
Just
whatever?
a piece of paper and let me frame it.
Yes.
Nah, no.
No,
And there's varying degrees of that, right? In artist world, like we have a framer here, like at our disposal during the week. JFM Frames is set up in headquarters with wholesale frame prices. Just a little plug there.
Love patent his
Yes.
product.
Yes. And oftentimes, maybe the frame does not match decor, and swapping out is convenient because we have a framer at the ready that could do that for us. So, yeah, I can see how that's a difficult situation when you are approached and, like, what do you do when you don't have that convenience?
Well, and let's just put a disclaimer out for all the people who want a discount in the world. I mean, I'm certainly one of them. You know what I mean? So I understand everybody. I don't like the frame or whatever, and that's always been an interesting topic too. Is like, how do you frame it? Because I guess you do see stuff that like, I don't really like that frame. You know what I mean? And you get that wrong.
Well, I had just the opposite experience from the Wayne Plein Air event as well. Someone bought a painting of mine, decided they wanted to reframe it, and actually returned the frame to the Wayne Art Center
Oh, that was kind.
so that I could take it back.
Yeah.
So that's the other extreme.
Right.
right.
We've got everything's inside of us. Yes.
Yes.
We're all things. We're many, many things.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Mick, I want to ask this question. It's kind of something that we've been hitting on the last couple of years since the pandemic and the times that we live in now. How, in terms of like how divided we are as a country or world or whatever, and this is not political. It's more. I'm going to bring this around to art, but it is there. We all know it is there. People, there's an anger. There's a just a bubbling up
Anxiety.
of things
Yeah.
going on, and I just feel like if everybody had been at the Meet the Artist party last night, if everybody in the country could experience something like that, regardless of where you stand on anything, regardless of your demographic, regardless of anything, that it would be different. And it was different because it was an art event. It could have been a great party out there. It could have been a lot of other things. But there's something that what felt really good about being around the arts, paintings in this case specifically, and I wondered if you could talk about or what your impression is of how good it would be for everybody to just go out and like experience something artistic in this time and do that for yourself as part of as we heal as a group.
Like, is art the salve for what we need?
I think art, the larger art, absolutely
Yep.
is. I've said more than once that everyone should paint. Doesn't matter how good you are, just the painting, the creative experience is really worthwhile. And then that helps
What does
to
it
bring
do
people
to you?
together.
Well,
And
what
that
does
goes
it? But personally, and you're an artist, so it's be a different answer. But like, you tell people to paint, and because to have this, what is it? Something changes in your body. Something happens with what's the payoff? For someone that you're telling that to do. This is what's going to happen to you. You're going to walk away lighter. What's the payoff?
Yeah, I'm not trying to solve someone's problems when I say that, or it's not someone I think needs my help. But I think that
We all do, Mick. We really do.
Well, the whole country does right now. But that's
I
that's the
know.
point of the question. It's like, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that art, and it's not just painting, but art, music, art, theater, all of those things combined. I think all of them share a unifying message
They do.
that brings people together regardless of whatever is dividing us.
What's the difference between someone who wants to look at the artistry of, the curves on a motorcycle and go into a design motorcycle shop versus going into Trip Gallery down the street?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose that you could look at motorcycle design as a form of creative expression as well. What the difference is, Tim, I don't think I know.
Yeah,
Right.
it's in the beholder. You know what I mean? Like we can't say what that person is experiencing from it, but it definitely, like, it fills a need to feed your soul in some way, even as an onlooker, even as an observer, and I'm sure it must be as an artist too, creating.
Yeah, spending time creating and not getting caught up in whatever other people's opinions, what you're being force-fed every day in the media, immersing into something, again, the creative experience and sharing that with others, and not having any need or opportunity to really
Okay.
be...
I'm going to hit this one more time, and then we'll move on to something else.
Okay.
So you're in your kitchen, and something comes on, and it's like, okay, this person did this, and they're whatever, and the whole country's talking about it for the next 10 minutes or 2 days or whatever, and you say, oh my gosh, I got to go paint. So you go and you start to get your stuff, and you're obviously thinking about it a little bit in your head as you start to paint. You start to lay down stuff. You lay down color. 2.5 hours later, you haven't really even thought about it. You're not thinking about it anymore because what happened in that time for you,
Well,
or anybody in that situation?
it's like a meditation.
That's
right?
exactly where I was thinking.
Yeah, if you do transcendental meditation or any kind of meditation where you just try and quiet, your mind, quiet your soul, spend some time thinking about nothing or thinking about the things that are really important to you, yourself, your loved ones, your extended family. And then again, for me, there's a real joy and a spiritual uplift of being in the studio and creating art.
Good.
And I can imagine if it becomes so important to you that it becomes something that is needed, like a daily practice, a consistent practice.
Absolutely.
Where you're like,
every day.
I know what I need.
Every day.
I need to step away and be in my studio or be creating in this moment.
Loving the creation process, Marie, but not feeling forced into it, not feeling like I have to paint today because I'm supposed to paint
Exactly.
every day. Doing it because you love to do it, because you want to do it. And if you don't feel like painting, don't paint.
Right.
There are other things in this world. Not this week.
Right.
The only thing going on this week is painting.
Fun.
But the other 51 weeks of the year.
Right.
Right, and for me, it is spending time with my wife and with my sons and our granddaughters and golfing.
There you go.
All those things bring me great joy. On the golf course, I don't talk about anything divisive. You talk about, those shots that are making,
Yeah.
you want to come back again.
Right.
Yeah.
Not talking about subjects that are giving you anxiety, but how am I going to hit this next one?
Well, there's a lot of anger on golf courses. I can tell you that much. But that's why you practice.
Not for
I
me.
can't comment
Not for
on
me
that.
either.
Not from me.
I don't
No,
have.
I'm thrilled to be there, and it's all about the good time. Good people, good time, beautiful location. I'm not getting angry.
But Tiger Woods said you could be angry for 10 seconds and then you got to forget it. He said then
Yeah.
you just move on. We got it. That's on the paper, Marie. We've got that written down here. Mick, thanks for answering that. I know I didn't really phrase the question that well, but I just felt like yesterday, that party, if whoever is out there listening, if you get a chance and you want to do something really special and unique for yourself, is it Friends of Plein Air? Is that who puts that party on, or is it Meet the Artist? That Meet the Artist party yesterday was just phenomenal. I mean, from the grounds to the vibe, we kind of talked about it, hit on it in a second. The beauty, just the spirit of it, the magnanimity of it. It was just the intricacies of the estate. And I know, Mick, you didn't even go yesterday because.
But Mick has been to how many Meet the Artist parties?
Right, right. And how great were they?
Estates.
How great were they? How great is those events? Because yesterday's was just as great as the ones you were to. Every year, it never misses.
It's hard to put it into words.
It is.
It's remarkable. For me, the first time I was here, I've heard about the wonderful experiences at Plein Air Easton, and to actually live them it's everything I had heard and more. It's even better. The people, the staff, the painting opportunities, the gorgeous properties and locations to be able to set up your easel and paint. It really goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So,
it really
yes,
does.
You're right.
It really does. Go ahead.
So let me just give a little information. The Meet the Artist party is a benefit for folks that donate to Plein Air Easton, and that's how you gain access to the party.
But is there a name for their group? Is there a name for the people who donate, or is it just
Friends of Plein Air is
Listen,
true.
That if you're listening and you're a member of Friends of Plein Air, fantastic, 20 times. We've probably done it 18 or 19 times. It's just a brilliant, unique day to be alive. I don't know what it's like. It's like I don't know. It's just something that, and I go to a lot of stuff, and I've never quite been to anything like that. So
And it is unique to Plein Air Easton.
Oh, okay.
It is?
It is, yes.
Cool.
In my experience, absolutely.
Right.
There is nothing like that day.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I've never seen anything that's built like that.
Now I can say exclusively at Plein Air Easton.
Well, if you want to know more information out there, if you're listening to this podcast, I guess hit Marie up. And it's the Friends of Plein Air. It's a brilliant thing.
Okay, if I can tap into the question you asked him, which was a hard question to even think about and try and answer, but recently I had a friend of mine who's an aspiring artist said to me, "Why do you paint?"
Okay.
And it kind of stopped me in my tracks. And just like my fumbling with your question, it's a hard question. It's deep. It goes deep. Why do you paint? Why do you choose to paint? Why
This
do
is
you
cutting-edge interviews
choose to invest so much of your life time in the creative effort? Good question. We talked about it for probably an hour. Didn't come up with an answer. There is no easy answer. But is it because of the accolades? Is it because you want to sell paintings? You want to make some money? Is it because you want to be on a podcast with Marie and Tim?
Hey.
It's a hard question to answer. Do you have what my minister friend would say, a God-shaped hole inside of you that you're trying to fill, right? With all of the positive that comes out of being an artist.
Right. Right.
So
those are hard questions to answer, I think.
To
Good
really
questions.
pin down.
Yeah, again, mine was really just more about practical, just the practicality of this thing that we have that might be able to help us at this point. You know what I mean? That's kind of where there is no real answer, but I know doing it, I'm probably doing something good for myself, regardless of who you are. So,
Well, and I
there's-
think
it's something to talk about during the. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can keep. I think
No,
we
you
should
think what?
totally revisit this with all of
Smarter
our
artists.
alumni panels. But
You're an alumni. You're smart automatically. You graduated.
but art is for everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't have.
It's a big tent.
It doesn't alienate
Big tent.
people. There's something for everybody in it. So that's got to be part of the answer.
Yeah, I mean, again, just the way it sort of can make you feel, I think, is really what you really. I mean, that's really what we're lacking right now is a sense of true feeling of sort of anything, and again, I'm not.
Well, the beautiful, wonderful work of the Avalon Foundation is trying to expand, the art tent to
Sure.
folks here on the Eastern Shore.
Exactly.
And yet, in the larger scope of things in the United States, art funding is dropping off, continues to drop off. So we're actually heading sadly, I think, in the wrong direction.
And it is in schools too.
Exactly right.
I have
Yeah.
a question for you, kind
Okay.
of like change topic, but I am wondering, like, how much art do you like toss as a watercolorist? Like, how much is like, that's just
50%.
really
50%.
Okay.
They may not be bad paintings.
Right,
And
right.
some who, would not know better would say that's, way better than it is. But am I going to put it in a frame and, turn it over to a gallery? No.
See, and you
No.
have it a little bit easier because you can just like, dispose of a piece of paper, whereas a canvas is kind of, I don't know, it feels like larger and more cumbersome, or that you have more committed to just.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
went
do you
over
just,
to,
like,
to
keep
friends'
covering it?
houses about a year ago, friends of ours' house, and they have a big outdoor kind of fire pit. And I brought along a stack of paintings, just burn them up. And my friend was going through them. He goes, "You want to burn this one up?" I said, "Yes, please." And this one, "Yes, please." And he would
Was he,
say,
like,
"You can't
hiding
burn.
it
You
behind
can't
his
burn this one. You have to take that back with you." All right. That's part of
That's
the
fun.
process.
That
He was,
could
like,
be that could
hiding
be
them.
that could be an exhibit. Nearly trashed.
Yeah. Or in the case of a
Saved.
watercolor artist, there's two sides to the paper, so you can turn it over, and you can paint something else on the other side, which is, that's an option. Or I'll tear them in half, and when I'm teaching, I'll use them for what I call mini demos.
Oh, nice.
Reinforce artistic concepts.
Yeah.
If someone said, I didn't catch how you did that.
Right.
And do it on a small, sheet of paper with a failed painting on the back.
That-
Happens all the time. Maybe my failure rate is higher than others, but I fail all the time.
No way. That brings to mind this cute little story, if I have time. Last year, when I went to the Next Generation. Next Generation is the concept that it is trying to encourage young artists to, stick with it or be inspired.
Yes.
Or and every year I buy one of the kids' canvases because you have to be under 18. And this young man, I think he was around 16, and I bought his painting, and he said, "There's a secret drawing on the other side,"
There you go. That's what I'm talking
which I immediately had to see. And
Yeah.
it was this, I almost liked that one better because it was a sketch of mushrooms on the other side. It was so adorable, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Love
so
that.
both sides.
Yes, a twofer.
Both
A
sides.
twofer.
We are going to get ready to wrap up here. We were speaking with Mick McAndrews. A couple more questions, Mick. What is the best sandwich?
For me, it's the Primo Hoagie's Schwartzy. You don't know what a Schwartzy is?
No.
It's either a corned beef or turkey sub with Swiss cheese, coleslaw, and Russian dressing. How good does that sound?
Right?
Really
It
good.
is. You need a shower after you finished it, but otherwise, what a great sandwich that is.
Oh, wow.
Marie, you want to ask him that one, the bottom one?
All right, Mick, we have a little special surprise for you because you mentioned to me that you celebrate your birthday with us.
Oh,
And Susie has got a special surprise for you. Or maybe we can all sing. We've got some volunteers.
How are you going to
around.
celebrate your birthday, Mick?
He's standing on our stage.
I'm going to do a demo tomorrow to a throng of adoring fans.
Yeah.
You better get him out here,
And
Mick.
then I'm going to hightail it home to have dinner with my wife and family.
Oh, I love it. Happy
Happy birthday
birthday to you. Happy birthday to
To you.
you. Happy birthday, dear Mick.
Happy birthday to you. Very nice.
Very fancy Rice Krispie treat.
Ah!
Thank you very much.
You made it. You
Another
made it.
example of why you're the best.
See, not cake or ice cream.
Do you want to know what my wish?
Yeah, what's your wish?
I'm not supposed to tell you, but that I'm back at Plein Air Easton.
Yeah.
How's that for an
You'll be
appropriate
back.
wish under the circumstances?
I know.
This is very sweet. Thank you to
I
everyone
love it.
who had a hand in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
How old do you think I am? That's a good guess. That's a very good guess.
I'm going to say, Mick, I'm going to say 79. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm
a
just
very,
kidding.
a very
Just-
youthful
You can
79.
throw that at him.
It was
that's
obviously
fine.
a joke.
That's fine.
I mean, we're probably the same age. I mean, I don't know what it is.
You and I?
Probably.
got-
I'm as old as
I
the
probably
hills.
got
I mean, they got me in this couch. I mean, this is coming to you from the worst couch in America.
I've probably got 20 years on you, but who's counting?
Well, we would never be able to guess. You're ageless.
No, yeah, you look great. I think the
You
arts
do look
keep
great.
you young too.
Okay.
We are coming to you from the Plein Air Easton Podcast. I say this. I don't think and I'll take on anybody who wants to not take on, but I'd be interested to hear what anybody else had to say that was opposite. I think if you are into the arts, into the art world, artist, painter, you like collecting, you're culturally curious, Easton, Maryland is the place to be in the entire country for this week in the year. There could be other things that I don't know about that are going on, but I know this one's going on, and I know it's a great one. So there's plenty of great artists here. Marie, you want to give them where we are and where they can find out the information and what's going on this week leading up? Spread the word if you can.
Yes, we are located. The Plein Air Easton headquarters is located in the at 40 South Harrison Street in Easton, Maryland, and we're open every day except for Thursday at 10 a.m. with demos and podcast at either 11 or 1. And we look forward to having you here. There's beautiful art to look at. Come in, hang out, get something to drink. It's air conditioned. Take a break.
Mick, you have anything to add there? There are thousands of paintings coming in here this week.
All of that times 2
Yes.
from me, times 2.
Thank you, Mick.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to chat with both of you. Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting me.
Thank you, Mick. This has been Plein Air Podcast with Plein Air Easton Podcast with artist Mick McAndrews. Check them out online. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Catch you next time.